everybody. I'm Perry. Welcome to Awaken Hidden Truth with Scott Lemriel. Hello, Scott. How are you?
I'm good. Can you say that title again more slowly?
Okay. Awaken Hidden Truth,
There,
Scott.
because it
Mhm.
broke up a little bit and I want to make sure people hear what the title.
Uh-huh.
I think
Scott,
you had a question for me, didn't you, right at the start?
a few, yes.
Okay. What's the
Uh-huh. You want me to ask the question now, right?
sure, why not? Sure.
Okay. Scott, because here in Thailand, many people, are Buddhists, okay, and we have belief about heaven and hell, okay. Could you please explain to us, do they exist?
They exist as long as you imagine that they do, because the imagination is really a divine capability or a very high faculty. And people on earth have been made to forget this in many ways before they were even born here. So what they're taught when they're growing up and from their parents and their peers and society, they're being taught that from people who also were raised to believe something on faith. But very few of them have real experience about what lies beyond this life when the body dies, or what beings are like on other planets, because the systems on this planet are classified and people have been kept in the dark about that intentionally, particularly since World War II came to an end. And they don't understand what they are that isn't the physical body. They fear death because they don't know that they cannot die. There are remedial places in what you would call the lower astral plane, next plane up from here, that are like hell or even heaven. And so it is for the planes above that, until you get to the etheric plane and to the area that Buddhists call the void. But there's many planes above that void that most Buddhists don't know exist. And they don't work like these lower worlds. There's not positive and negative, good and bad, and karma and all that. And we as beings come from there. All human beings on this earth originate way up there. And they need to forget this and doubt who they are. They don't understand how to use the imagination to get around creation. It's that powerful. The imagination is meant to be used by normal beings without subconscious minds or negative influences in only a constructive, benevolent, uplifting manner for the good of all life everywhere, not just life on earth, but all life everywhere. That's the way higher beings function. That's the way normal human beings on millions of other worlds, people on earth have been made not to know about, function right now at this time. So my work is about helping people recover higher faculty awareness, who they are, and what their real destiny is as a co-creator with what very advanced spiritual and technologically evolved beings from other worlds, from parallel and higher dimensions, call the source or prime creator. They don't worship this source. The source itself never demanded or requests that we worship it. It only requires that we respect and love all life, not just on earth, all life everywhere. There's an old saying. I don't like to use the word God because it's been terribly abused on this planet in ways that are too unspeakable to even talk about it. But let's use it because most people understand an idea that there's some kind of being or something way up there, some lofty spiritual plane that's going to look them over when they die and this kind of thing. The source isn't really like that, the real source. The only beings that want you to worship it and prostrate at its feet are tyrants. I don't care what name you give them or what plane or dimension you think they live on, they're tyrants. Pretending to be the real source in the way below the source itself, because the source is way above the void known to the Buddhists. This is really beneficial to a lot of Buddhists. Have a great deal of spiritual discipline, training, and technique, and they grow up being disciplined. Some of them know martial arts and they practice spiritual techniques, right?
Yes.
But if you don't know there's something beyond the void, you're never going to find it. If you're a Buddhist for 1,000 years, you won't find it. Because the imagination in each being is involved in being able to see it and go there. If you've been made not to remember what it looks like, or that you don't have the ability to know what it is, which you do, by the way, you're not going to get there. Because all beings ride upon this underlying current, this energy, this first sound behind all vibration. The first vibration, the hue, it's the first part of the word human being. Human didn't originate on this planet as a word. Did you know that?
I just know from you, Scott.
See, it's very important because it's like slapping everybody on earth in the face. Here's human, here's the key to your freedom. But guess what? It's part of the you. You're never going to think this is important, stupid humans. That's how tyrants think. But the Atma, the real us, that isn't the body, cannot be suppressed forever by tyrants or people pretending to be the ultimate God. Worship me, bow down, and give me your worship. Only tyrants require that, not the divine source itself. That's one of the most important things I ever share with people, because until they're conscious of that again, they're not going to make any progress at all. I don't care who gives them a psychic reading or how much work's done or laying on of hands or any of that, because that's all temporary. Until the being starts to recover their own autonomy and stand in their own gravity again as an autonomous, free being who can be trusted to co-create with their imaginative gifts those things which will be beneficial to all life. Until they do that, they're going to be stuck on this earth. And heaven and hell are places people go when they die because they're thinking and imagining it. And it's like a magnet. They get drawn to it. So it's important that they realize this and stop imagining negative things from the news and because the people putting out that news are just as stuck on this earth as the people listening to it. And it's self-perpetuating nonsense. So it's important that a person withdraw from paying attention to the negative stuff on the internet, the negative things other people say on the news or on anywhere in the world, and get their imagination pulled away from agreeing with that, start to create wondrous, beautiful things, because this underlying current that supports all life, which is not positive and negative, it's way before that, will fill whatever imagination you put into it, good or bad. And people have forgotten this. They don't remember this. So they just run their imagination in two ways at one time. I want a good future for myself and my family, for instance. I see wonderful things, but I'm terrified of my own destiny and the destruction of the world. That goes out in two ways, through the person into the world, and creates opposing forces that short each other out and ground it into the earth. So people make little or no progress while they're doing that. They don't realize they're doing this. My work is to help them remember this, to wake it up. And my work in the hue, the new ray in the hue I talk about, comes with a certain protection that people must individually experience for themselves to know it's true. Otherwise, it's just my words. I don't ask people to take this on faith. No, I share with them techniques and ways for them to go about beginning to experience this in a safe way themselves. So we're recording a second session now. Perry's camera froze and we have to restart a session in Zoom, so we'll make it 2 parts. And we were talking about how to use the creative imagination properly. Using it in 2 ways, positive and negative at the same time, is like shorting out energy into the earth. And people all over the world do this, political leaders, common people, regular people everywhere, people in the UFO disclosure community, people in anything wanting the truth out there about abductions or anything that's come along 20, 30 years ago. Most people on Earth are still using the imagination without realizing it in both ways simultaneously. So they have their fists up. They're fighting the good fight against the classified government, or they're fighting the good fight against the bad aliens, or whatever. And this traps them, because without them realizing it, they're putting out the imagination in a negative way and in a constructive way at the same time. Tyrants use this to control people. And what is done to people has to do with creating an artificial domain people on Earth call the subconscious mind. It's not normal. And once that's created, usually done to people before they find themselves incarnated on this planet, then they're influenced by what programs are put in that subconscious energy field, and they don't realize that the decisions they make throughout their lives are really not their own. And so they make little progress throughout a lifetime, and then another lifetime, and they're compulsively reincarnating here without realizing it. So the right use of the creative imagination is to come to a conscious understanding that there's only one proper way to use it if you want true free will and freedom as a being. To be able to co-create, again, with what the most advanced extraterrestrial, benevolent, loving beings and in other parallel and higher dimensions call Prime Creator or the Source. It's not a tyrant. It doesn't demand that we worship it. Only tyrants do that. They demand it and give you little in return for all that worship. The only thing that the real source, which is far above the void known to most Buddhists, in planes far above it, requires of all of us is that we love and respect each other and it, not worship it. There's a big difference. If people were respecting each other as beings, animals, lives, rocks, people from other worlds, this planet would be a paradise, like many other worlds already are in the physical universe. And people on Earth don't know that because people on Earth are not yet trustworthy to have the higher faculties of imagination wielded out in the universe, because they'll be destructive with it without realizing it. So the real challenge here then, and what my work is about, is to help people recover the right use of the creative imagination, because it's a godly, divine, co-creative faculty. We are comprised as beings of exactly the same energy as the source itself, identical in every way on a smaller scale, and we're shaped spherically as beings. It has a structure with a white core and layers of teardrop-shaped lights in different colors, each a different faculty, to a violet exterior with a golden light halo around it. Not the aura people see around a body. This is different. It's what runs the body unknowingly. Waking that up is what we're talking about, waking up. The Atma, what very advanced, spiritually advanced, kind, non-terrestrial life in the universe and in parallel and higher dimensions call the Atma, what people on Earth call soul, but they have no idea what it is. Millions, billions of beings outside the universe beyond Earth know exactly what that is. And they can move this part of themselves, the true self, around the universe. Beings can come here in ships from other worlds with great technology, but they can also come here as a being without the ship and move around and see things and do things. That's a normal human being. People on Earth are not normal again yet, but they're destined to become that way again because of what is underway out there among the stars that is also focused on changing this planet permanently for the first time in galactic history. This is what my work is about. As you know, I don't charge money of any kind to do private sessions or do things like I've done with a few people. I'm only one person, so that's never involved in this work. On Earth, I derive income from selling books, the two that I've published and other things, but one is from a New York publisher and one published from my own company because it's practical and it costs money to do that stuff. But the actual work I do in helping people with the U and how to reverse this stuff and getting them connected with friends from out of town, very far off planet in a safe way, there's no monetary system involved with that ever. I don't know if there are other people on Earth operating this way, but it's the way that I operate because of my commitment and my mission to this world, which is for the benefit of all life here. All life, no one excepted. That's a different concept for most people. They don't understand it. What does he mean? Tyrants do? Yes, tyrants do. Because they're only tyrants because something more diabolical was done to them subconsciously to make them that way, or they would not behave like that. When you really know this, it really allows you to drop your fists, to drop the fight and start being a dynamic co-creative being, again, with the source itself and with billions of other beings out there that are aware of this. Might as well, because that's a much huger energy coming this way that cannot be reversed by any tyrant race on any world in our galaxy, Andromeda, or anywhere else. What's underway now cannot be reversed, and it's in the process of retiring evil as an experiment in the lower dimensions and on places like Earth and out in the stars, because something infinitely more effective has been found to take its place. Something that inspires beings to only create that which will be of uplifting benefit to all life. That's why the lower dimensions were created, to one day get to this point. Where we are right now is starting the beginning experience of this change in creation. And that's a lot to share with an audience or anybody else on Earth. The only reason I do it with what you might call bold courage is because I'm not concerned. I have no fear about my own existence here and other worlds. I know well what I am and where I am and what I'm doing with others to help change this planet. What it is about that I'm doing is for the benefit of all life here. No one accepted. And at some point, as more beings from other worlds get involved here, they will, then the rest of humanity here will begin to be raised in vibration. They'll begin to recover a lot they've been made to forget. In the meantime, a couple of people that had written to me because of the last show we did wanted to know how to go about stopping feeling afraid or body sensations when they start to do the U. And what I had to share with them was a list of instructions, which helped them to understand that it's very important they don't attempt to take their fears and negativity into a Hue session, because the Hue will not work with anything psychic, which means anything of a positive and negative stream, which only runs in the 4 lower dimensions. It works with telepathy, and it works with the energies that come off the planes which are above the void known to the Buddhists, all the way down here on Earth directly. That's something people need to become aware of if they're going to be able to gain benefit from it. So the subconscious stuff that I mentioned, people have been programmed without their current awareness or consent, will turn on when you try to find freedom and truth and remember. And it'll try to make your body uncomfortable, do this and that. My recommendation to people is to first get relaxed in a chair or on a bed and think about someone they love and cherish and have respect for in their life. A person, place, or thing to start this process properly with the imagination. Then take all their fear about health conditions and money and relationships and kids and the world and nuclear war and all that stuff they hear every day on a shelf in your imagination. Just imagine a shelf, put it over there. Because when you're going into the Hue, you don't want to bring that with you, because it will keep the Hue from coming in and uplifting you, and all you get is that positive, negative junk again, affecting your body and your consciousness. So you need to shut that stuff off by sending out the Hue with the proper preparation first. That is love for something that you really are grateful for having here. It could be a pet. It could be a daughter, a child, a husband, a lover, a park, a perfect beach, some place that brings peace to the individual. Even a place they've been to in dreams at night. But something that's genuine, that they're sincere about. And then take some deep breaths. All that stuff you're worried about, you can take it back when you're done with a Hue session. There's a new kind of energy blended in this omnipresent primordial first sound behind all creation that supports all life. It's not positive and negative, it's behind all that. And we are comprised out of that same energy, not positive and negative. Those are secondary energies from that. So we want to get back into that center in our own being and wake all that stuff up. The Hue goes right to there and then right to the source, direct. So you're actually working with the source, which is really, when you connect with it, it's only uplifting, warms your body. It just puts the energy field way out, like Buddha, miles, and lets the energy flow through you for the benefit of all life. So nothing negative can come into it from this world, or even from other worlds, or from tyrants, on any plane, anywhere. It supersedes and has command over all lower energies. You ask me how it is that I sit here without fear of the future or any of this stuff that people fear about this world. It's because of what I know from experience. So I know certain things with certainty. No doubt, no fear, no speculation, no theory. I don't work with those at all. They are part of artificially created negative emotional charges or programs, like terror and self-loathing and anger and revenge and all these things. These are used as artificially created emotions imposed on people without their consent or current awareness so that they can be manipulated by them. How you feel is how you imagine, so to speak. So when a person starts to become aware that how they feel is how they imagine, they begin to become consciously aware that they can control what they imagine and what they feel. They don't have to be the effect of this subconscious stuff. The being, the Atma, the true part of us, can command and take command over it. Because at some point it was made to believe it cannot do that anymore. We have to reverse that thinking. It's wrong thinking. The Atma itself cannot be destroyed by nuclear bombs, hydrogen bombs. What we really are isn't physical matter as scientists understand it on this earth. It isn't atoms and molecules. It's something finer, what people in the Hadron Collider at CERN, Switzerland call the God particle, because it's underlying everything. Even in the void of space, it's full of energy, but they don't know what it is. So they call it the God particle. And it's on that energy that we move around the universe. Even anti-gravity ships use it to get around. Beings in or out of bodies use it to get around, to go up other dimensions and come back. It's pretty amazing, really. So the hue just sounds like you. When I'm doing that, I'm seeing it go out to this entire planet, to everything here. It's not an invasion of space. It's not psychic. It is a primordial energy that connects with them to give them a supercharge of the kind of energy they are made out of anyway, as beings, as the Atma, as soul. It begins to light that up. It cannot be penetrated by negative things or thoughts. It only works one way, and it's going in one direction. There are classified people on this planet now, good people, that know this is underway. Their weapons and everything they have cannot change the direction this is moving. They're going to have to get in swing with it if they want to play among the stars. Because space out there, where they hope to plant a Russian or Chinese or American flag, is already occupied by far more advanced races. We can play with them and they'll share their technology, but we can't go project on them or a negative consciousness and nuclear weapons and all that. They won't be tolerated. We'll never get past our solar system. So you see, they have no future in the direction they're headed anyway. It's important because you remember when I said that the hue and the new ray in it is for the benefit of all life? On every world, time worlds, other dimensions, other realities, everybody on this earth, I meant it. We're all in this together, like it or not, good and bad. And if we want to change this experiment of evil, good and bad, and heaven and hell, into something that it was meant to be long ago, then all of us have to be involved in creating it differently, which means beings from other worlds realize they're going to require our assistance, awakened, to help that happen as well. They're not tyrants. They're not going to force it on anyone. But that energy is moving into this planet in this way, and it cannot be reversed. It's important for people to know, because why would anybody who's awakened from thousands of years of incarnations of being dominated by tyrants through some kind of misuse of old extraterrestrial technology, why would anybody who first recovers from this ever want of their own true free will to keep it that way if they knew there was a better way and that they could be set free in it and contribute to this change? Not even a tyrant would want to keep it that way once they're set free from the subconscious influences that make them tyrants. Because at the core of all that is the Atma, and it is benevolent in nature at its origin. That's about what I have to say with people. I sent you a list in an email that I sent to a couple of people who wanted to know how to, because they would start the hue, then they'd get afraid, then they'd feel body things, and they think that's coming from the you. It's not. It's coming from subconscious things that are affecting their nervous system, trying to keep them from doing it. You don't want to take those kind of feelings into the you. You want to take the imagination away from fear of the future, fear of your own life, fear of your family, fear of nuclear war. Just for now, put it on the shelf. And then think of something you love and have respect and are grateful for in life, because it sets up a different connection through the pineal gland, a telepathic connection to the source and to beings out in the universe that are kind and benevolent, not tyrants. It's a protected circuit. And the only way people will find out that these words are true is if they experience it for themselves, because then they know for themselves. My work is about helping people know for themselves, not know because I know it. I'm not a priest. I'm not their guru, someone they can worship at my feet. I would never tolerate that kind of thing. They're fellow beings like me who just don't remember. My job is to help them do that. It's not to dominate anybody or take advantage of anyone or mislead or lie to anyone. None of that. No, I'm not motivated by the baubles of this planet. Money? Are you kidding? Ink on paper? Digits in computers? None of it's real. Tyrants create it to control people. We all have to use it because everybody agrees that's the only way they'll accept payment for anything on this world. So it's going to take the massive help from good people and beings from other worlds to change this place. People on Earth collectively are not awake enough to do it. They would destroy this planet left to their own devices without outside help, because they don't have the true free will they think they have. And that needs to be awoken in people here. That's underway. So I'm very happy about that, to be honest with you. What it is and what it does. It opens a door through the pineal gland in the center of the brain, a protected doorway. And it connects to those things which are kind, spiritually advanced, technologically as well, all through creation. It can't connect to tyrants. That is quite impossible. However, if tyrants attempt to attack it, their energies are reversed on them instantly, anywhere, because there are classified people who've tried this, they know. And it doesn't hurt them, which shocks them, doesn't kill them for their abusive attempts. No, it begins to set them free, changes their technology, begins to awaken them so they understand this isn't about harming anyone. It's really not what they expected. I couldn't be happier about that. Because they've been used to thinking like tyrants and fighting something, foreign power or bad ETs or something, and they're conditioned to it. They don't realize it's controlling them. And I don't want it to control them. I don't want it to control any of us. Neither do the people I know from out of town, very far out of town. These are people from other worlds and other realities and higher dimensions that can get around the universe. They're not tyrants. So I don't work with reptilians or grays or tall whites or any of that. I'm not against anybody, but I send them all the new ray and the hue to help them stop being tyrants or acting like tyrants, because they need it as much as anybody else. I think I could say a little bit of my lineage comes from the Pleiades area, but it also comes from a planet, third planet from the sun on 180 degrees on the other side of this galaxy, Milky Way. Before that, Andromeda, before that, other galaxies, before that, way up the plains, way beyond the void known to the Buddhists. Now here's the kicker. I'm aware of it. All other beings come from that source too. anywhere in the multidimensional universe. A great majority of them work in harmony with each other, but people on Earth can't even conceive of such a thing, the way they've been mistaught and misled by people who mean well, but who don't know any better themselves. So they really aren't understanding real spirituality or what happens after you die, or if you go to a permanent heaven, or God says, I'm not happy with you and sends you back to Earth. They think about all these things. But in reality, it doesn't work like that at all, except they're given the autonomy to misuse their imagination and trap themselves. Most beings won't do that, but tyrants can manipulate energies that surround what we are as a sphere, so that we look through colored glasses, in a sense, at reality and misunderstand it. It's just energy, frequency. That's all reversible. The first step is to get beings to remember who they are, what they are as a being, the Atma, not the body. Then the next step is to get them to remember the Galactic History 101, and Interdimensional History 101, and Ancient Earth History 101 that they know nothing about, that goes back more than 50 million years since the dinosaurs were made extinct. People on Earth have the ability, once set free, to understand and know this stuff again. I know that to be true because I've been through it. So I'm trying to help other people as a prototype, you might say, in this new energy to get people through it here on Earth. It's unique because I came here to carry out something along many decades ago that was intervened with back then. And now I'm beginning to fulfill that mission after 60 years. This was not easy, but it wasn't thwarted permanently, just temporarily. So I want you to know I wish you and all your listeners the greatest goodwill for their recovery and recall and awakening about who they are as a being, what they used to know before they were found themselves on this planet with little or no memory left, and what their real co-creative destiny is, a human being with the source itself, and how beyond amazing that is. So I'll leave you with that then.
Mm-hmm.
You have that printout list I sent you?
Yes.
Send that list to other people, because it will help this instruction. It will give them some idea of what, right away, about how to use the imagination to set up the hue so that they have wonderful experience with it. And with the dream state at night, you don't want to take anything negative from the day or the news into your dream state. Mm-hmm. Because the hue will be in the background, but what you'll have is negative experiences. So, because it's like the source respects you to use the imagination, good or bad. That's changing, by the way.
I will put it, so if I can, because it's kind of long, right? I put it.
Yeah, so from me to them, just a generic hi there, something, but the rest of it is spelled out. So it would be very helpful for them. And they can go to my website at paralleltime.com, WPARALLELTIME, just like the two words are spelled. And there's a link on the site that says About Scott-HU. When you click on that, it goes to 2 recordings of my voice sending out the hue in 3-part harmony. And one of them is almost 24 minutes, is looped continuously. So it's the constant hue, and you'll hear a tone running through the middle of it that was not recorded in that. That is the sound of the primordial hue itself, the pure one. A being I know who I respect and love greatly, called Ambassador Turelian of the Sayres race, which is a human race, not from Earth, very tall, 18 feet, billions of years old, and no human beings did not originate on Earth or evolve here originally. First thing I want to tell people. He had a hand in that. So when you hear this tone and you really get in trouble and you can't do it on your own, you can go there. It's free. There's no charge, and they can play this recording and hue with it, or get in a chair or lay on a bed and get this thing going in the right direction. It's very uplifting and loving and kind. There's no tyrant natures in my work anywhere.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay. Yes, thank you very much. So, see you again on Friday, next Friday. Awaken Hidden Truth. You can help a lot. Oh, Scott.
Okay, I'll shut the recording now off. Thank you.
Okay.